Welcome back. It's time to go ahead and start on our pear. We're going to approach this pear in a very strange way. I'm going to make sure that my brush is nice and clean. I'd really rather not have too much of that blue on my brush right now. If there's some on there, it's not the end of the world, but not too much. All right, I'm going to get myself a little bit of fresh yellow because I am a very messy painter and I totally got blue all mixed in my yellow. So my yellow is now green. Let's go ahead and start by grabbing some yellow, and we're going to decide where our light source is coming in. Now, if you look at my shadow from my paintbrush, I obviously have a light source coming from this direction. So if the light is coming this way, then the shadow is going to come this way. Now, you don't have to use the direction that I'm showing you. It's just a little bit easier having an actual light source to rely on. So if I have my brightest parts here and here, then I can start working around that. Now, we might want to go ahead and grab a little bit of white. A little white in there will brighten our yellow, of course, and just give us a nice change of hue on the brightest of bright spots. Notice I'm just tapping my brush. I'm not brushing. Just tapping it and blending it. And I'm working my way out. I'm going to add some more of this yellow. And wherever the white and the yellow meet, I'm just going to drag my brush a few times, and that's going to give it a nice blend. I haven't gone to the very edge yet because we had determined that this is going to be a green pear. So I think I want to add some green along the edge. So I took a little bit of blue and a little bit of my yellow and mixed them together just to get this green edge. And then you see where they meet? Dab your brush on it a couple times. I'm just tapping. Wherever they meet, make sure that you have a nice blend. Just drag your brush a few times. I didn't do anything special. I did yellow, threw in some white. I kept tapping that white out to where it dissolved away into the yellow. Then I did my green around my edge, and there was a definite line. So I just tapped my brush back and forth until it blended out. No bells or whistles, no tricks, just that simple. So let's go ahead, start introducing that green on this side as well. Notice it's more yellow than green. I'm not worried about my stem and stuff right now. I'm going to add that later. I'm just going to work in little areas, blotches, tap it out. If I want to add more yellow in there, I can. We'll work it out. I think I'm going to take a little bit of yellow and white even and bring that out a little more. This is where you can just start blobbing in your color. It doesn't have to be a smooth pear. This is somewhat impressionistic, which means it's going to look blotchy. We want that. I'm still working with that mostly yellow and a little bit of blue on my brush. Barely any blue. Just keep little X's, little dashes. Drag it in, drag it in. Now look, I have an obvious area right here. I don't like that. So what should I do? Grab some yellow. Put it right on top. Now I'm losing my little white area. And if I have too much green on my brush, I can wash it, dry it gently, grab some white and tap it in. Why did I wash my brush before I grabbed my white? Because if I'd had a dirty brush tapping into that white, I would have just made a light green. I wouldn't have that true white in there. So I have my yellow and my blue on my brush. Like I have one side yellow, one side blue. Keep working my way out. Blend, blend, blend. Yellow and blue. But as I come out, I'm going to start grabbing more blue than green. Or I'm sorry, than yellow. More blue. See that? That's almost all blue now. Now I'm going to add some yellow to it, but not a lot. And remember, this side is the darker side because that's the shadow side. So we really want it dark over here. Almost all blue, barely any yellow. All the way up. And look, I'm accidentally going outside my lines. Go with it. Pears aren't perfect. Light touch when it comes to painting. Super light touch is what it takes. Like I really put a bunch on there. Drag, 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 fill it in. Get all those little white spots, they're not gonna go away. All right. We got some more over here. You know what? I'm gonna twist my canvas a little bit. Get it nice and dark under there. And then you can start trying to blend the dark with the light, with the yellow. Problem is the background of the table and the pear are similar in colors. What do we do? Well, first of all, I want to add a little bit of shine over here. Just a touch of white. I'm going to drag it in there. Make it mostly go away. But that's just going to add a little bit of shine. Now, the reason I had you do similar colors is because Cezanne outlined in black. So, that's what we're going to do. You're going to need some black. And we're going to use our dirty brush, and I call a dirty brush a brush that's already got paint on it. Dip it in your black and start outlining it. As I outline it, I'm going back and forth a few times. And you see how it's kind of blending in with the blues and the greens and the yellows. Do that line. And just tap it a few times. And he'll fade out, but you'll still have a black edge. Kind of cool, huh? I'll twist it a little more. I'm going to zoom in a little so you can see what I'm doing. And move my water too. Grab my black line, right? Start tapping it, making it dissolve away into the dark colors. Let's do it again right here. Black line. Actually, I'm going to cover that area a little more. Black line, right? Start tapping. blending it out. Okay, so now do you see all those colors in there? I didn't do this area here. There's a reason, because that's where the lightest part of the pear is. I'd really rather keep my blacks to the more shadowed area. If you find you would like to outline it further, you can. Like I said, there's not a wrong way to do art. But I like to have that bright area. I want to take my black. I want to super softly put in a smile. I'm going to wipe off most of the paint off my brush, and I'm going to drag that smile up. I'm going to take my black again, put it in that smile, pull up, wash my brush off, dry it off, touch my white, barely any on there. Do you see that? Barely any on there. Put a tiny bit right where the black smile is, and just start working it out. Tap, tap, tap. Make it kind of dissolve away. You can even add barely any white to our stem. I'm going to wipe it off so I have a pretty much clean brush, and drag it a few times. And that'll gray it up a little. The last thing I want to do on our picture is come down here, and I want to add some shadow. So take your dark black and just bring out an area of blackness. It's kind of going to be like a C, but I don't want to draw an actual C. I just want to paint in little blobs into the basic form of a C and have it fade out. Alrighty. There is a pretty good looking pear, if you ask me. The last thing you can do, if you feel you want to, you do not have to, is you could take your wet brush with some paint on it. See, it's a dirty brush, and you can flick it. If you flick it, you get teeny tiny little polka dots all over it. And what those are going to do is act like the little speckles on a pear. Sorry, I can't do two things at once. It's very difficult for me to talk and paint at the same time. Well, I hope you enjoyed today's lesson. I've really enjoyed it. I thoroughly enjoy doing still lifes. If you enjoyed doing this, I recommend setting something out in front of you. A banana, a flower, a kumquat, whatever you want to, but put a still life in front of you. You don't want something that'll move. And you also don't want something that you have to come back to, because odds are someone is going to move it and you're not going to get the same view. So whenever you start a still life, I recommend trying to finish it, at least the drawing of it, and then you can finish painting it at another time. But take what you've learned today and try it out on some other things out there. It doesn't have to be on a canvas. It can be on paper. It can be on fabric, whatever you want to. I did want to point out, I painted my edges So now I can hang it directly on my wall. I hope you enjoyed today's lesson on Cezanne, and look forward to teaching you guys some more fun art in the future. So take care and keep painting on. Have a good night. Bye-bye.